Hey there, and welcome to the Do Life Big podcast. This podcast is going to be your jam if you want to live to your full potential and don't believe in half-assing anything in your life. If we want to do life big, that means we've got to get out of our own way because we only have this one shot to make it awesome. I'm your host, Kathy, and I'm a mom of three whose BFF is cold brew, a retired school teacher turned online entrepreneur, and an author. I'm loud, bold, and will always keep it real. I'm determined to live my best freaking life possible, and I'm here to help you do the same. I'll be packing this podcast with tips, motivation, inspiration, and strategies to finally get you where you want to go. And we will have a ton of laughter along the way because, let's be honest, we can't ever take ourselves too seriously, right? I'm so excited you are here with me today. Now let's get this party started. Hey, my friend, what's up? And welcome back to the Do Life Big podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. As you can tell, I'm feeling a little under the weather. I have a major head cold going on, some kind of virus, and I just can't seem to kick it. So bear with me here as we get through this episode here. It's going to be a good one. And if you are an online entrepreneur whose income has plateaued for at least the past 3 months, or it's even gone backwards, you're going to want to make sure that you tune in to this entire episode because we're going to be talking exactly about that topic and how to overcome it, how to get to the other side. And I can teach this and I can talk to this because I've actually lived it and I've gone through it myself as an entrepreneur. There's ups and downs and there's peaks and there's valleys, and I've gone through it all. And so one of the really cool things about going through the lows in business and going through those roadblocks is that you learn a lot from them. And when you come out on the other side, you can now use that knowledge to teach other people like you. So if you are that discouraged entrepreneur with big dreams, then you have most likely been plateaued in your business or have even gone backwards in your income for at least 3 months, even though you've been showing up and doing the work. If you're like most online entrepreneurs, then I know that you're showing up consistently to work on your business every single day, but you still have that little nagging voice in the back of your head saying, is this really possible for me? Or you're reading all the personal development books. You're listening to so many podcasts. You're attending all the live events. You're doing all of those live events at least once a week. You're participating in trainings. You're showing up and doing the things. You're sitting down to work every single day to make the most of your time. But then you always find yourself slipping back into the social media distraction, right? Where you start scrolling through Instagram, checking out what everybody else is doing, and you end up just wasting time. And you end up wasting all this time just scrolling instead of actually doing what you're supposed to be doing. And now, if you're anything like how I was before, as you look to the other entrepreneurs in your space and in your industry who are crushing it, one time gave you hope and inspiration. You know, you'd look at those people and you'd think, hey, you know what? Oh, that's awesome. If they're doing it, then that means I can do it too. Now you find yourself looking at those people and you're telling yourselves that, hey, you know what? They're only succeeding because they have it easier than you do. And now because of all of that, right now your mindset, it keeps reverting back to negative thought patterns. It keeps going back to you comparing yourself to others and you feeling defeated. And all of that training now that you've gone through and that you invested in literally just feels like nothing but wasted time and money. And every day you struggle to actually accomplish what you wanted to accomplish. You know, you had that blog that maybe you had to post. You had that podcast that you had to record. All of that just gets kicked right down the road, gets kicked off to the side. And it just makes you feel like it's really unlikely that you will ever hit your big goals and dreams. And that 6-figure business goal that you had, it seems like nothing but a pipe dream. Listen, I know what it's like to go through that. And I also know that you're someone who wants more confidence, right? You want more excitement in your life. You want more income growth. You want more self-belief. You want freedom to go on vacations with your kids. You want to be able to book that cruise. You want to be able to go to Disney. You want to be able to go out to a fancy restaurant with your spouse and not worry about what the bill is going to come to. You want to be able to not have any stress around money at all. You want to be someone that has more courage and you want to feel proud. And what I figured out, what's going on here and why this is happening, is actually what's called the Groundhog Cycle. Now, this is something that I created, and I figured out that everything that you're going through, everything that I just described, if you can relate to one or more of those things, is the Groundhog Cycle. And I was in this. And I'm going to explain to you what the Groundhog Cycle is. Now, I'm getting up there with my age. All right. And I don't know if you've heard of the movie or seen the movie called Groundhog Day. But if you haven't, it basically is a movie with this guy who wakes up every single day on Groundhog Day. Every single day he wakes up, he gets up, he goes through the motions, he does his thing, and the next day he wakes up, it's Groundhog Day again. And he keeps repeating the same Groundhog Day over and over and over again. And he can't get out of that until he learns the lesson that he needs to learn. And this is what happens a lot of times in our businesses, where it can start to feel like we're literally living in Groundhog Day. We're in this Groundhog Cycle is what I call it, where we're waking up and we're showing up for our business and we're doing the same thing or the same things to grow our business that maybe were working before. Maybe they were helping us build our business. Maybe our income was growing, but we continue to wake up and do these same things every single day, hoping that we're going to have a different outcome, but we're not getting another outcome. It's the same result. The income isn't growing. We're plateaued or we're starting to go backwards. And you might start to try to implement something new one day, but nothing ever fixes it. Nothing ever makes it last. You always just revert back to plateaued income growth, or you start to revert backwards in your income. And the reason why nothing is changing is because the real root problem of why your income isn't growing comes from within. And most entrepreneurs don't even realize it. I went through this. I lived through all of this, so I know what it's like to be in the Groundhog Cycle for a good 2.5 years, where I would wake up and I would do the things for my business, and I was just stuck in a rut of doing the same things for my business over and over again every single day, the same actions of my business that were producing income before and no longer was producing income, accelerated income growth. It had plateaued, and I kept doing it, and nothing was changing. And this went on for literally 2.5 years until I finally realized, after all of the money I spent invested into trainings, into all the personal development I was doing, after 10xing everything I was doing and working longer hours and getting less sleep and working harder and working more, I finally realized that the root of the problem was really within inside of me. The root of my problem, of what was keeping me stuck, was my inner thoughts and my beliefs about myself. Because the truth is, working on your inner thoughts and beliefs, it is the only way to truly remove that block that is keeping you from having that success you want in your business. What can we do about this here? So first of all, I have a couple of different things that I can give you that can help you get started in the right direction here. Get the ball going in the right direction here so we can get out of this plateau and actually see that income growth that we want. Now, in my Mindset Accelerator program, just to kind of give you a little look behind the scenes here of what goes on in that and kind of get you started with here and get this ball rolling, my program teaches you 3 pillars. There's 3 pillars. The first one is identifying. The second is extracting, and the third one is ingraining. And the whole point of this program is to get you to be able to figure out what those hidden beliefs are that are keeping you stuck. Because we all know it's not about just working hard. If working hard alone always gave you the results that you wanted and produced the income growth that you wanted, then everybody who worked hard would see the income growth that they wanted. But you're working hard, aren't you? I was working hard for those 2.5 years and it wasn't growing. So we know that that's not true 100% of the time. And so we've got to spend time focusing on being able to identify what it is that's actually keeping you stuck. Now, for me, when I was going through that 2.5-year plateau there, what was keeping me plateaued was that I had a limiting belief around failure. In my eyes, in my way that I interpreted it was, if I failed or when I failed, that meant that I was the failure. And that was the limiting belief that I had. And that was the mindset that I had and the belief around that I carried with me for 2.5 years, constantly just trying to avoid failure, not really understanding that failure is more important than the wins. And so I would try to avoid it because I looked at it as a bad thing. And then when it did happen, which of course it does because you're an entrepreneur and it's going to happen more times than the wins, when it happened, I made it mean that I was the failure, that I wasn't meant to do this. I wasn't meant to go as far as I wanted to go. And I created this whole BS negative story that was a total lie around it. And that's what most people do. And that's why most people plateau or even go backwards in their income. And so we want to be able to fix this. And so if you were sitting here across the table from me right here as I sip on my Theraflu, and if I said to you, hey, what was your big reach goal for 2022? And you looked at me and you said, I really wanted to have a 6-figure producing business by the end of 2022. And it didn't happen. And then I said to you, okay, well, why do you think it is that you didn't achieve that goal? Or what is it that is preventing you from reaching that goal now? Whatever that first thought is that comes to your mind is your limiting belief. That is the thing that's keeping you plateaued. Now, in my program, I go over in depth several different ways on how to identify what your specific beliefs are that are keeping you plateaued. This is just one basic way to get you going in the right direction because I want you to at least become aware of what your thoughts are when you think about your goals in your business. Like, what are those internal thoughts? So being aware of that is really important. And one of the things that I did, one of the mistakes that I made was that when I was going through this plateau, not only did I look at my failures as me being the failure and me really just fearing failing, I was just so wrapped up in being perfect all the time and having everything go perfect in my business, which is, oh my gosh, like that's not possible. But what I started to do was I started to also look at other people who were succeeding in my industry. And I started to say things like, well, I just am not going to be able to produce the amount of income as quickly as I want to because I have little kids at home. That was the belief that I had, right? And I would look around at these other people and I'd be like, well, they don't have 3 little kids at home or they don't have 2 little kids at home and also, are running a business on the side. And while that was true some of the time, it was not true 100% of the time because there were plenty of other people who were crushing it, having accelerated income growth while being home, raising more kids than I had. So that was a belief that I had around it. And that's another really good way is to think about that. When you have those beliefs in your mind, ask yourself, but is that really true 100% of the time? It's not always 100%. Get really clear with yourself. Really get clear with yourself. Like, don't feel bad about yourself for having a plateaued income growth or going backwards. This can all be fixed. You can work on this. You can get your income growing again. Trust me, I know what it's like to be feeling discouraged. You're that discouraged entrepreneur, but deep down, you still have those big dreams and you know that you're so capable of them and you absolutely are worthy and deserving of them. And you 100% can go and achieve those things, but it starts with focusing on within. And so my Mindset Accelerator program isn't open yet. So we can't get enrolled in that at the moment, but stay tuned because I will be opening it soon. In the meantime, you can go to kathyreuter.com/thinkthisnotthat. And this will all be in the show notes as well. And you can get started and you can just download that free guide that will list all of the most common limiting beliefs and what you should replace them with instead. The key right here to getting started and you being able to identify what your specific beliefs are that are keeping you plateaued is then being able to replace them with a more empowering belief. And so this cheat sheet that I created is a really easy way to at least start to get you moving in the right direction, to start to get yourself thinking a little bit differently. And the next thing that we have coming up, which I am super, super, super excited about, I haven't shared this anywhere yet. So if you're listening to this in real time or maybe like a couple days after it, you're going to have the chance to be a part of this. But we are hosting our very first live virtual event on April 24th for 1 hour at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am so pumped for this. If you go and you download the Think This, Not That guide that I just mentioned, you'll automatically be receiving information about this. So that way you can stay up to date with it. You can become a part of the, you can join it if you want to. You don't have to. And it's called Power Up Live. And I'm going to be hosting it with 2 other total badass women, Alicia and Liz. And it is going to be freaking epic. If you can just imagine just one big happy hour with music and a combination of networking with new like-minded besties from all across the country. And then you're going to be able to hear from myself, and you're going to be able to hear from Liz and Alicia for a couple of minutes each, just on different topics. And we're going to be doing a prize giveaway. And if you're just someone who is just looking for a really positive and uplifting event to just boost your confidence, then this is definitely freaking it. It's going to be so high energy. You are going to feel like $1,000,000. And there's nothing better than being surrounded by other go-getter, ambitious people who want to grow and who want to better themselves. I freaking love that. It will be completely free for the first 24 hours to enroll. More details to come on that. And then after that, it will be a small amount to get in. But you don't want to obviously miss out on free, because free is for me. So for the first 24 hours, it will be free to get in there. So stay tuned on that. And I really hope that today's episode helped you out. You know I believe in you. I love you. I think you're awesome. And thanks for listening in, and I will see you the next time. All right, bye. Thanks so much for listening in. I really appreciate you choosing to spend your time here with me today. You totally rock. Hey, listen, if you loved today's episode, go ahead and tag me on social and go share this with a friend right now. Like, do it immediately before the day gets ahead of you and you totally forget. Couldn't be more pumped to be on this journey with you guys. Go make today awesome, and I will see you the next time.